Good day to everyone. I'm here with the last lesson in social studies. This is for 5th standard. The last chapter we learnt about the British rule in India and the establishment of the East India Company, and then finally how the British closed down the East India Company and a Governor General was put in charge of India and who was appointed by the Crown. Now, today's lesson, number 8, The Struggle Begins, is about the freedom fighters of India, those who put up a very brave struggle and got the British to leave India. So let's go on to chapter 8, The Struggle Begins, on page 273. Name 3 leaders who fought for India's freedom. Now, the first one you can say Bal Gangadhar Tilak, second one is Lala Lajpat Rai, and third one is Subramanya Bharati. There are many more, but just they have asked for 3 names, so I have given you 3 names. The revolt of 1857 ended the rule of the East India Company. The British government took control of all the Indian territories that were under the company. The more strongly the British tried to suppress the Indian people, the more strongly they began to demand freedom. So once the East India Company was closed, the Governor General came into power and Britain took power of all the Indian territories that they had conquered, and they tried to put down the Indians. The more they tried to put down the Indians, the stronger the Indians became, and their revolt against the British became stronger. In the early 19th century, many Indians realized the need to correct the Indian society of the ills that had crept into it. Social evils such as the caste system, polygamy, sati and child marriage had divided the Indian society and made it backward. Now, Indian society had a lot of ills and evils prevalent in it. Child marriage, that means children, young boys and girls were getting married when they were just 6 to 7 years of age. And this was a very bad practice that was practiced in India. Then also comes sati. Sati is that practice that when a man dies, if he is a married man, his wife has to burn herself on the funeral pyre with him. So that was a very bad practice that was there in the olden days. And many young men, when they died, their young wives or the brides, newlywed brides also sometimes, had to jump into or were forced to jump into the fire in which the body of their late husband was burning. This was sati, and it was a very bad practice. Second one was the sati, and the third one is the caste system. The caste system is dividing the classes into the higher class Brahmins, then the Kshatriyas, and lastly the Shudras. And Shudras were, you can say, untouchables. They were not allowed to enter the temple where the higher class people went. They were not allowed education. They were not allowed to go into places where it was frequented by the higher class people. So that caste system was also a very bad practice that was practiced in India. Then you have polygamy. Polygamy is one man marrying more than 2 or 3 ladies at one time, and then when he is not able to look after them, he leaves 1 or 2 of them, and they are, suffering from hunger and pain and disease. So all these practices made India a backward country. And the people, the leaders who were, starting the movement or the revolt movement felt that these practices have to be wiped out from India so that India becomes a stronger nation, and then only India would be able to get the British out. Now, keeping all this in mind, there are some people known as the reformers who came into the fore, and they started bringing reforms into the Indian society. And some of these reformers were Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Ahmad Khan, Dayanand Saraswati, and Sri Narayana Guru. Now let us go into the next paragraph on page 273. Reformers such as Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Syed Ahmad Khan, Dayanand Saraswati, and Sri Narayana Guru started movements aimed at ending social inequalities and promoting education. Now, here also education was limited only for the rich class or the higher class of society. It was not open for the Shudras to go to school, of the lower sections of society to attend school. They were denied education. So these reformers came and said that education is a must for all, and education should be open for all, and opportunities also, whether in job, should be given for all and not only reserved for the higher section of society. They felt that without this change in society, India would not be able to unite and fight the British. So these reformers felt that if we have to fight against the British, the only way is that we have to be united. And to be united, all these venues of education and jobs and other fields should be open to one and all, not only for some particular sections of society. And in this way, we can get the people of India united, and when we are united only, we can fight against the British. So this was the idea that was developed by the social reformers, and this was brought into force very slowly, but effectively. In the political arena, leaders started setting up political associations to create awareness among the people. In 1885, A.O. Hume set up the Indian National Congress. It marked the beginning of an organized political movement against the British. So A.O. Hume set up the Indian National Congress, and that was the first political organization, and they worked in a very effective manner to get the British out of India. The first session of the INC was held in Bombay, now called Mumbai. Thereafter, the INC held regular sessions every year in December in different parts of the country. So the first session or the first meeting of the Indian National Congress was held in Mumbai, and after that they used to have regular sessions every year in December in different parts of the country. The main aim of the Indian National Congress was to bring about a united India, so that united only we could get the British out of our country. The early phase of the INC was moderate, both in demands and program of action. Prominent leaders of this phase were Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Dadabhai Naoroji, and W.C. Banerjee. So these three leaders were the pioneers of the Indian National Congress after A.O. Hume, the founder. One section of the Congress felt that moderate methods such as meetings and speeches would not produce any result. They wanted direct action with the support of the people. Now, one part of this Indian National Congress was very moderate, and they thought that meetings and programs would slowly make the British understand that they had to go out of India. But another faction of this Indian National Congress felt that this slow method was not okay for the British, and they would have to take action into their hands and have to be little more, harsh and do something more strong, so that the British should realize that they should quit India. Among the prominent leaders of this group were Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal. These three leaders, often called Lal Bal Pal, were representatives of the extremist group. Bal Gangadhar Tilak declared, "Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it." He started a newspaper named Kesari, which was very critical of the British. So as I mentioned, the INC had two factions. One was a moderate group, the other was an extremist group. The extremist group believed in action, and very fast and quick action, to drive out the British. And the extremist group had three famous personalities, that is Lal Bal Pal, they are known as Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal. And one of the leaders, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he has said that Swaraj is my birthright. That means he was born in India, so India is his birthright and he will have it. And he started a newspaper called Kesari, which was totally opposed to the British in India. With this, I come to the end of the first part of the lesson. I want you to read the lesson very carefully and understand the details of this lesson. Thank you.